This is Drew from Game Time Sports and Training, and we're going to talk about a very simple, basic human movement pattern, and it's just called the hip hinge. The hinge pattern means that we're going to try to get maximal movement from our hips and minimal movement from our knees and zero movement from our lumbar spine or our low back. So the hip hinge is a very basic common human movement that can be transferred over into things like kettlebell swings, deadlifts, either sumo or conventional trap bar deadlifts. So this hinge is a very, very important concept. If you jump right into deadlift, you're just asking for trouble without developing this hip hinge pattern first. So I've got a couple tools that we're going to use to teach the hip hinge. One is just a very simple dowel rod, and the other is a flat wall. But what I want to do, let's talk about posture first. If I'm going to talk posture with somebody, then what we need to work on is how to come up with our chest up, all right? And two cues that we use a lot is kind of the joke is if two guys get into it, one of them's going to initially kind of stick that chest out and kind of come at me bro a little bit. So that's one cue that we use, is come at me bro. And simply what that means is I just want you to push your chest out. I don't necessarily want you to push your chest out and arch your back, all right? That's wrong. We want to tuck those hips underneath us and just push our chest forward a little bit. Another great cue, especially for athletes, is if they have a jersey on, we always want to tell them, hey, show me your numbers. We want to see what number you are. And for kids or youth, sometimes it's just Superman chest, all right? So all that means is push that chest forward a little bit. And once that chest is forward a little bit, we're going to stand right in front of our wall here, and we're going to take our fingertips. We're going to put them right in our hips, all right, right where that hip crease starts. And keeping that numbers up or come at me bro posture, we're going to push our hips back until we feel our rear end touch that wall behind us. Our weight's in the heels of our feet, our chest is still pushed forward, and then we're going to snap it back to the top. We're going to push it back to the top. So some people may have to start very, very close to the wall. So numbers up, fingertips and hips, push those hips back until you feel the wall. And once they get the hang of this, then you're going to move them forward a little bit. So now we want to get them to where they're going to feel those hamstrings and hips kind of engaged. So again, numbers up, fingertips and hips, push those hips back. Another great cue is if you think about, I've got a handful of groceries and my car door's open, I want to shut the car door with my hips only. That can also be another great cue for people to understand what you're asking them to do. So, and then move them out again away from the wall. Numbers up, come at me bro, push your chest forward, all right? Fingertips and hips. Now, push those hips back to that wall behind you. As soon as you feel those hamstrings engage and those hips hit the wall, we're gonna step back, or snap it back to the front. When we snap it back to the front, guys, we wanna make sure that we're as tall as we can be and we're not stopping short, all right? So that's the other thing. Hips back, snap it up nice and tall. If they're still not quite getting it, a lot of times what you can do is you can take a simple dowel rod and teach them how to hold a neutral spine. So you're gonna take your dowel rod, you'll put it right on their back, all right? And you're gonna have them hold that hand right in the hips so that it's gonna touch kind of their sacrum or tailbone a little bit. The stick will also touch right between their shoulder blades. And then you wanna teach a neutral spine with your neck by driving the back of your head into the stick. So 3 points of contact: neck, shoulder blades, hips. You're gonna hold those 3 points of contact, and now push your chest forward, push your hips back to the wall behind you. You should be able to maintain a nice, straight, neutral spine and really develop that hip hinge. So it's a great way to teach that basic human movement pattern of hinging those hips versus trying to get something out of your low back or really, really heavily arching. So just remember those cues, push your hips forward, fingertips and hips, drive those hips back. Use a wall or use a dowel rod if you need some assistance.